Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks to those of you who have joined today for the IDF webinar on social media. First of all, apologies because this webinar was supposed to take place last Friday, but we had to postpone it until today. So I will pass the floor to my colleagues of the communications team. As in previous times, we are going to go through all the slides. And there will be a question and answer session at the end. So if you have any questions during the webinar, please write it on the chat and we will go through them at the end of the webinar.
Thank you, Bea. So I'll start. My name is Lorenzo. I'm the communications manager of IDF, and I'll be making this presentation along with my colleagues, Romina and Andre. So to start, I'll just give a quick introduction to all of us. Starting with myself, so as I mentioned, I'm the communications manager. I've been working with IDF for over 10 years now, and I oversee all our communications activities, including World Diabetes Day, all our online communications, and our social media. Also, I'm joined by my colleague Romina, who's our junior professional officer in communications, and her main responsibility is social media. So a lot of the presentation will be delivered by her. And she's been working with social media networks for over 5 years. And lastly, we have our newest member of the team, so Andre, who's our intern who joined us just a couple of weeks ago. And he's worked with Romina on our social media content. So he does a lot of our daily updates on our channels. So in terms of how we're going to structure the presentation, so it's divided into 5 sections. So we're going to give an overview of the different channels that can be used to raise awareness, then how we specifically use social media, then how we would like to use it and the improvements we would like to make in how we engage in our community, how you can support us, how we can collaborate on promotion through our channels, and also how you can develop your own social media activities. So we'll start with the first item, and now I'll hand over to Romina to discuss this section.
Hi everyone. Basically, we'll start with the different channels that could be used for diabetes awareness. Well, let's start from explaining why social media is important. Nowadays, 71% of all the internet users have a social media account on one of the platforms. And as well, in average, a person uses is online on social media over 135 minutes per day. I would start with explaining with the different types of networks, understanding their content and what are the best way to get involved in them and what works the best on them. So let's get started. Well, if we speak about the biggest social networks, well, the best known to us would be Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. So, as for example, we know that Facebook has an average over 2 billion users monthly, and it is the most targeted digital advertising platform in the world. If we speak like what works best on Facebook, we should always think about how it evolves. Social media is always changing, and you always should be up to date with what's new, how your content that you're sharing works. So that's what I'm going to focus on while explaining how each of the networks works. If we take Facebook, the most popular and the best performing component of your page is the Facebook hosted videos, and as well the newest added live streaming. People usually even get a notification if they're following your page. As the latest update that happened is that when you publish a post, and if it is engaging, if you're giving a question, and the person is tempted to write a comment, then you can be sure that your post would become viral or would increase a higher engagement rate compared to just sharing a link, or if you just share some information but does not require interaction, then you would better use LinkedIn in this case, or Twitter. Because Facebook is all about getting involved. If we speak about LinkedIn, well, we could say that it's one of the most professional social networks. In this case, why I start speaking this time about LinkedIn is because if you're an organization or you just have an interest with the publications you are creating, you have to be sure that you have a LinkedIn page profile. And same if you're interested in healthcare professionals or professionals in your domain, or even pharmaceutical companies. Publishing what are you doing and getting people engaged in there has the highest impact. Same as LinkedIn gives you the highest engagement rate compared to Facebook or Twitter. Now I'd like to speak about Twitter. Well, Twitter mainly is about advocacy or taking part of trending topics and events that happen worldwide. As we know, like World Health Day, World Diabetes Day. Usually World Diabetes Day becomes a trending topic the 14th of November, and you'll get the hashtag right there. So when you publish on Twitter, the most important thing is having the hashtags to publish as much as possible. We see Facebook, because if you publish on Facebook the same type of post or the same text twice, your post is not going to be as engaging, even if you ask the question, because the algorithm automatically decreases it. Compared to Twitter, that they take into account the amount of times you publish and the hashtags. But say not using any hashtag on Twitter, it's considered as bad, as it's not going to get any visibility. But same as too many hashtags would be quite confusing to read. It's all a tweet. And as well, if you're interested in getting, Twitter is as well all about retweets. You should not expect that Twitter will be more about likes. Twitter is more about retweets. So if you get a higher amount of retweets, then you can say that you're going towards the right direction. And now I'd like to give a place to explain YouTube and Instagram to my colleague. Okay.
Hello, everyone. Romina did a nice job by studying every social network we have here. YouTube is a platform that is the second most used platform in the world, with more than 1 billion of users. Its content is most videos are uploaded. So it's more a visual content that people want to see on YouTube. It is important to see that it is important to know that on YouTube there are some tips to really know how to have success. And one of our videos that had most success in was an animated video posted in 2011 that we had more than 50,000 of views. This to explain the fact that quality and value of the content is what matters on the videos, not especially the length. Another important detail is its thumbnail. So the images we put on the videos, once the person gets to click on it. The thumbnail with the title is really what catches the eye of people. So it has to be appealing and it has to be interesting. So when we use the title on YouTube to post a video, we need to use the keywords that are essential to attract the interest of people and of the public we want to reach. The use of tags is important too. When you use tags on YouTube, they will recommend videos that are tagged on your video. So if you're posting a video about type 1 diabetes, put tags of IDF or Diabetes Voice or Pulse Circle Voices or Young Leaders Program, because then in recommended videos, those videos that have those words or those keywords can appear as recommended videos afterwards. Don't forget that a lot of people that use YouTube are most in the age between 25 to 44 years old. Instagram is kind of like YouTube in the way that it's more about visual content that people want to see. But instead of videos, they are images. So on Instagram, what is really important is the high quality of images we share on Instagram. And what provides us the most views on Instagram is the use of hashtags. It is very vital to use the hashtags on Instagram to have higher engagement in this social network. What is really important in Instagram too is the story mode. With the story mode, we can have a better interaction with our followers and with our engagers, and we can really share the content or share more personal publications to our public.
Now, thanks for that, Andre. I'll cover this slide, which so we've presented the different channels that can be used, and so how has IDF been using social media, and what social media does IDF use? So it's actually been 10 years. This year's 10 years since we launched our Facebook pages. So we have on Facebook a main IDF page, which I'm sure all of you are familiar with. And then we also have a dedicated page for World Diabetes Day, which is focused on posts around the campaign, and which the IDF page we use on a regular basis, while World Diabetes Day is more, our posts are more targeted around the timing of the campaign, so in the 3 to 6 months before November. We have the same on Twitter. So also we launched our pages 10 years ago. So we have a main IDF Twitter page, and then also a dedicated World Diabetes Day page. On LinkedIn, we've been active for, I think, just over 5 years on that. And that's, we have a main IDF page. And we also have, within this page, dedicated sections for particular projects. For example, the IDF Congress, for DNET, and other key activities. Instagram is our newest addition to the IDF social media family. That it's actually, we started using Instagram in January of this year, as it's become a very much a popular platform for the reasons that Andre explained, and it didn't make sense that we continued not to use it, to make use of it. And then we have other 3 smaller platforms that we use. So Google Plus, also, that's a very recent addition. YouTube, we've been active for also around 10 years, but our video content, we've had ups and downs in terms of our production of videos. We had a period where we produced a lot of videos, and now in recent years we've produced a bit less. So it's a channel that we use less often than Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and now Instagram. And lastly, we have Flickr, which collects all the images from our activities, specifically World Diabetes Day, and that's also something that's been active since 2008. And there we have a library of over 50,000 images, not only World Diabetes Day, also the Congress and other activities that we organize around the world. So those are the main pages that we manage from the IDF Executive Office in Brussels. And then we also have some other pages linked specifically to projects. So we have our IDF Life for a Child program has dedicated Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube pages, and these are managed by the Life for a Child team that's based in Australia. So we have some overview over these channels, but it's, in terms of the content, we're not responsible for the daily content that is published on these channels. So that's an overview of the social media channels we have. And now I'll hand it back to Andre to talk about the audience and how we use the channels.
So when we talked about social networks in the other table, there was a column that explained the public we reach and the public that follow these social networks. And here we have a detailed explanation and briefing about the people that are following us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and people that are engaged. So not only we use social media to pass on our information, to transmit the goals and values of IDF, but we use it to collect data and information about our public. Because if we know our public, we know how to reach them, and we know what are their goals and interests. And as you can see on the graphs on Facebook, the graph on top are the women, and the graph below are the men. And then we have the graph that are the followers, the first one, and then the graph below one are the engaged users. And we can see that there are the ages and the proportion of people that follow us and are engaged. And something that is really interesting is that people that are more engaged in our Facebook content are people that are older than 45 and above years old. So it means that are people that are living with diabetes type 2 or type 1, and there are older people that are concerned about their health and how to manage diabetes and how to live their lives with a better healthcare system or treatment. On Twitter, it's more specific to healthcare professionals. So Facebook ranges all kinds of users and public. Twitter is more concerned about people that are professionals and work or treat people that live with diabetes. And Twitter, what is really important, and Romina really details very well, so I'm not going to explain a lot about it. But what are important on Twitter are more statements that we do as an organization, or even events that we promote, such as World Cancer Day or other big days that we have international. We promote those on Twitter. We try to have the most reach, and usually those kind of publications tend to have a lot of retweets, which is the best way to promote our statements or our publications. And then we have LinkedIn. As you can see with the graph we show, LinkedIn is more about we reach more people that are more concerned about research and pharmaceutical companies. So again, professionals. But something that is really interesting about LinkedIn is the most engaged people are NGOs. So public that is more concerned about humanitarian causes are the ones that are most engaged in our publications in LinkedIn. So not only from the publications we have on our social networks, not only we know which people we reach, to whom we reach, but we really know how we can reach them. So it is really important when we use these platforms to know our public and to know what are interests and to know how we can provide their satisfactions and their visions. Now, in matter of content, it is important to know what is our IDF strategic goals. And IDF strategic goals are divided in 5 categories. We can tell it like that: advocacy and outreach, epidemiology, education, diabetes care, access and prevention, and humanitarian aid. And so when we share those publications, as an organization, we need to have a schedule. We need to be organized. We need to show that there's a pattern, so people know, and so we can meet the expectations of our public, and we can create their expectations too. And so here we have a weekly content calendar of the days of the week and which posts we usually share on those days. As you can see, for example, on Monday we share Diabetes Atlas, and we usually tend to share some content of that publication, some curious facts about diabetes in the level of worldwide or in regional levels. And you can see other projects or programs that we share on other days. For example, on Thursday, we share posts about cardiovascular diseases. On Friday, we share posts about Blue Circle Voices videos, Young Leaders Program. On Saturday, we share, for example, Life for a Child. And so we have this schedule, so people already know that, for example, on Wednesday, they expect IDF Congress posts on Facebook or on the other platforms we use. Don't forget that this is our calendar. We stick to it so we can be organized and people know which posts to expect to. And we tend to have 2 posts per day each week. And so we share it as videos, we share it as articles, as publications, as projects, or information and data about diabetes.
We'd like, for example, to provide how we promote one of our ongoing projects. At the moment, I could speak about the Taking Diabetes to Heart, which is a new multi-country study. It's a survey focused on cardiovascular disease awareness and knowledge among people living with type 2 diabetes. So our goal is getting as many people as possible with type 2 diabetes. As you know, people are not shouting out loud that they have type 2 diabetes or type 1. So we have to invest in it. So we started 22 different paid campaigns in 10 different languages, as on Facebook, as on Google. So our main goal is to get around over 10,000 answers to our survey. And due to our social media activity, we were until now we have around 4,000 answers, and 40% of them are coming out of this paid campaign. How we try to plan this campaign? First, we decide the concept, how we want to approach them. There is a specific what we have to understand. When we try to do a paid advertisement campaign on Facebook or any of our social networks, speaking about diabetes, it's more of a taboo, which makes things quite more difficult. So we try to motivate them by asking inspiring questions to take diabetes to heart. Then we launched previously same for the Taking Diabetes to Heart campaign. Are you a type 2 diabetes hero? So we approach it from different ways. We try to start with a challenge by, as you can see in the picture, so by drawing a heart and a blue circle voice, a symbol of diabetes, on the hand. So to show to people that this is something personal and they don't have to be afraid of. It's still an ongoing project. It's due to be end the 31st of May. And at the moment, we are trying to, not only for social networks, but same for our members associations, to get as many answers as possible to know more about our level of awareness between people with type 2 diabetes about cardiovascular disease. And now.
And just to add on what Romina said, so this is an example of a paid campaign, which is something that we've been doing for 2 or 3 years now, for specific projects as a way of reaching wider than our community of followers, which is often a community that already knows a lot about diabetes. So to reach a mainstream audience, we've invested more in paid campaigns, such as the one for taking diabetes to heart. In terms of how we've presented how we currently use social media. And this slide, the next slide, shows what our thinking is in terms of what improvements we'd like to make and going forward. And one of the main things we're focusing on currently, and which we're looking to expand in the medium to long term, is to find out more about our audience and to engage with it more. So the slide that Andre presented showed that we have for example, close to 100,000 followers on Facebook, close to 50,000 followers on Twitter. And although we've been active on these channels for a number of years, we don't have a clear idea of who our audience, who follows us, what their needs are, what their interests are. And so this is why we started a concerted effort to learn more about the people who engage with us. So we started, for example, regular polls asking, for people what type of diabetes they have. In this, we initially assumed that most of our community was type 1, based on the comments that we received, the people who were more engaged. But after doing this exercise, we found out that it's almost actually 50-50 or 40-60, that actually we have a large community of people with type 2 diabetes among our audience. And so what we're looking now is to do on a regular basis to do either through questions, through promoting content that to try to engage a response from our users. So we have a large audience, but we for regular posts, the engagement for each post in terms of the comments that people leave, there's still room for improvement on how people react to our posts. And so that's what we're looking to do now, and we'll build on in the years to come as well, to really get closer to our audience, so that we make sure that the posts and the activity that we do really reflects their interests. Now, how in terms of how you can support us, and this is relevant for both young leaders and also Blue Circle Voices, is in the case of the young leaders, you have a separate social media presence on Facebook, a page that you manage yourselves in cooperation with Bea and Sabine here in the office. At the moment, we try to, from the IDF channels, to promote the activity that's on your pages, what you do, also what you will be doing. At the moment, the collaboration and sharing of content and cross-posting, which means that we share content from your page and you share content from our page. At the moment, it's quite limited, and it's something that we'd like to improve so that there's a greater level of alignment in terms of the content that's posted on both our platforms. So it's important for us to, as Andre explained, we have a weekly calendar, but of course it's flexible. I mean, things we add based on requirements. So for us, it's important if there's an important activity within your network, whether it's YLD or BCV, that we know about it so that we can inform our content as well. And on the other hand, also we look to you as well to see what content we're posting and see what you think would be relevant to share with your audience. Is there something, for example, that you would like us to expand on more, or is there a project that you're particularly interested in profiling and learning more about? So and that we're very open to communicating more, so that first we also get our content improves, and also that it helps also your outreach. Another element is linked to engagement, that when we post something, we look to you as well to share your feedback with us, and because you're key stakeholders for IDF, your opinion matters a lot in informing what we do. So I ask those of you who don't maybe visit our pages very often, that if you see something that's a post, when it comes out, please don't hesitate to share your opinion, even if you have a question, if maybe something you don't agree with, all feedback is welcome. Moving on to then how to develop your own activities, I'll hand back to Romina.
So, this is more a question to understand what you want to do. And we could start from understanding the different types of social media networks, as you can saw in the table on the previous slide. first thing you should understand what type of message you want to deliver, who are the people you want to reach to, and afterwards to join the right social media networks. As for example, we can think about something niche or general awareness, or as a personal blog. But I could take your create a Facebook profile that could be your personal blog, or a YouTube channel where you could, if you observe, for example, that in your country there is like a missing information or missing videos for tutorials. We can see like, I mean, there are a lot of people that usually like that first time got diagnosed with diabetes and they might don't know how to inject them even there. So they're looking might for tutorials on YouTube. This would be a niche to start. Do how to start a YouTube channel. If you take, if you, for example, are interested in just sharing your experience and you want your friends and family support, and just increasing general awareness, Facebook, your personal page is a great point of start. And engagement on different Facebook groups and general replying to Twitter increases the ranking of the importance of your file. So this would be just like general ideas of from where you could start. Of course, everyone could decide for themselves how they want to be present on social media, if it's an organization or a person. The first thing we should try to do is to specify specific goals for your social media effort. What you want to achieve, who are the people that you're interested in, and how you're going to communicate it. After you decided these questions, you should select the right networks. So when we think about, we spoke previously some more about the ways social networks work, but we again, I'm going to just send a reminder as if you want to do some more advocacy or raise awareness, I would use more Twitter and Instagram for this. If I want to get more engagement with people and I want to like answers from others, I would focus on Facebook. I said you don't have limitations in the amount of words. And if you'd like just to start a blog, I mean, YouTube is a great channel, and it's a really visited social network. So, and the third thing would be create a social media plan. It's really important to maintain your social media efforts regular. So you would start from a minimum of drafting a content calendar. A minimum of 2 posts per week could be something that could give you some results, but more often it is more regulated. This trains and increases the trust between you and your followers. So, same as it's important to have established a good brand awareness. So, brand awareness, I mean, mainly like if you're publishing something, you should take care to keep a specific type of language. You should take care to keep a specific type of images, like the same font or the same color. So people when see it without even reading the text, they immediately know that look, this is from this person. It's a really important thing to create a link between all your social networks. And last, but one of the most important things in social media is analyzing all the information you're publishing. So you could create a better plan for yourself for the future. Analyzing should not happen only at the end of a campaign or like at the end of a month. It should be always. It should be done always, because social media changes every day, literally. So you should analyze like what type of posts are you publishing, what gets people more interested, and what might there is an issue of images, might be too crowded with text, might require some infographics. Infographics are great ways to get a lot of responses, but they as well can destroy a bit of your brother, if you're not taking care of, is to be clean and neat. The quality of my images, and this would be, yeah, and of course the numbers. Like statistically speaking, I could give an example of Facebook. Like if we analyze videos, you would say yes, publishing videos is the best. But if you're gonna share a link to a video, you could not expect to have the same reach or the same amount of views. You have to be ready that Facebook is going to give prioritizations to live videos or to the videos that are hosted on, that you uploaded on Facebook, and not the one that you get from your YouTube channel. For the next slide, I added some useful links that could help you to. There are more general links that explain the everyday changes that happen in social media, and some ideas like what now is trending. Because on social media, the most important is always being up to date. So you are free to use them.
And that ends our presentation with this slide gives an example of an image that would get a lot of views if we posted it. We haven't done so yet. So now I get open to any questions, comments you may have. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yes, so during your presentation, we have only received one question from Diana from Mexico. She's asking if you can explain what cross-posting means.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, that's sharing content across our channels. So that we see content that's posted on the YLD channel on Facebook, for example, and we share it through our channel, and vice versa. So that you share our content or align any post you do with what we have on our channel.
Okay, thank you. So if someone else has another question, please write it on the chat or ask us for us to pass you the person as well. Okay, Diana is saying that it's clear now, so thank you. Okay, so let's start. Narcima has a question. Maybe you can pass him actually the floor. Yes. Yeah, so Narcima, you have a question. Can you please just speak to us and let us know what you would like to know? Okay, so Narcima may not have a microphone. Okay.
So yes, about a mobile app.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess he means an app from IDF, or is that it, Narcima? Are you asking for an app from IDF, or? Yes. So he would like to know if IDF has an app.
Well, IDF as an organization, we don't have an app. We have an app for a few projects. For example, we have the Kids project, which has an app. We develop an app for the IDF Congress. But in terms of an organizational app, we don't currently have one. But what as we revamped our main website last year, what we're looking to do is to improve the user friendliness and the look and feel and design of our website for mobile devices. As we've found out that the percentage of visitors to our website from mobile devices is getting bigger and bigger. It's currently over 30%, and it's only going to increase. And global trends indicate that it will only increase. So that's one. So we're going to deal with this by improving how our website displays on mobile devices. And the second component is we will be currently developing and will launch and hope to launch in the summer a new news platform for IDF, so derived from Diabetes Voice. and that will be very much be developed with the idea of it being mobile first. So the idea is that will aimed primarily at a mobile audience, as we find that, as I mentioned, the percentage of people visiting our channels but through mobile is getting bigger and bigger.
Okay, so Maxima is saying that it's clear now, so thank you. We have another question from Emilia. She's asking how she can share what she does in her community with the Blue Super Voices. So this I can already reply to you. You have our email address, bluesupervoices@idf.org. I will write that now in the chat. So every couple of months we launch a call for content for the DCD newsletter. So when that happens, you can send us the activities that you have developed in your community. And yeah, at any time you can also reach us with an email to explain what you're doing.
And just to add on that, Beatrice, is the news platform that we will develop for Diabetes Voice. One of the features will be the ability for a user to upload their own information. So if you have a news item or something that you would like to share with us, the platform will give that opportunity for you to directly post that information. And because the idea, we would like to really showcase country level and regional news more than we currently do.
Okay, so I think that's all because no one else has written any question on the chat. So thanks a lot for having joined today. And yeah, remember that there will be another webinar this Friday, April 20, on advocacy around the UN high-level meeting on NCDs. So we will start that meeting at 2 p.m. Brussels time, the same as today. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate in contacting us. Thanks, everyone.